Right on time to kicking off. We're all good here. So, okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is Daniel Forte, Access Control Manager here at Control Products. Thanks for joining to talk about AVLink Pro, a line from Alltech Pro. What we're talking about here is kind of a mixture, right, John, of hardware and service components. I won't take the thunder from, but we have John Miller here with the product manager at Alltech Pro, and he's going to go over this AVLink Pro line, talking about how they can enhance some of the current solutions we sell, and then also talk about some of their solutions that are standalone themselves. Correct, John?
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. Yeah, and we're real happy to be here, and we're real pleased to be able to help you guys do more with what you're doing now. The guys at Control Products Group are going to be able to help you enhance some of those solutions, and we're going to show you how we enhance communication with our products and services, and how we can make some better opportunities for you. One of the key things is that you want to make sure that you're giving your clients the most that they could ask for and filling their needs with some of the solutions that we can offer, which you may not have been aware of in the past and may not known that you could do. So if we can, I'll get rolling here with my presentation.
yeah. Quickly though, before we roll
Sure.
into it, no, I just want to thank you for joining us, John, and really talk about your company as a whole in the sense of very similar to if you've worked with control products in our access control department. It's you recognize the opportunity, and John and that team, they really run with it, right? So it's you recognize an opportunity and then them being the experts in implementing it and getting you through that project. Before we roll in, everyone, we're going to have you muted. So questions, drop them in the Q&A box there. This is being recorded. We are recording live, so we can share this on the back end of it here with anyone who signed up and wasn't able to join. So questions there, and I will pause if we feel it's prevalent to answer at that moment. Otherwise, we'll hold them all till the end and probably open it up for live questions at that point. Thanks, John.
Okay. All right. No problem. All right. So let me get started here. So AVLink Pro is a solution branded as AVLink Pro under the Alltech Pro company. The products are communication products, which cover a wide variety of connectivity solutions that allow you to do things like connect door stations to integrations, connect them to other devices, to control things. We have a variety of different solutions we're going to talk about, which include networking solutions that handle things that are used in the communication of the IP-based systems, control of devices like relays, doors control, elevator control, gate control, intercom, which can go into many different areas. Intercom is something that's been around for a long time. Back in the day, people had the Newtone intercoms, and today's world, they're familiar with the Ring doorbell, and now they've gotten into the professional products like DoorBird, like those of AIPhone and other companies, and obviously there's also the LiftMaster products. So a lot of these products are IP based. A lot of them can use SIP, including companies like Cellgate can use SIP. And we work with all these companies. We're not an intercom company. We don't make the endpoints. We make the connectivity to make those endpoints talk to more products. And I'm going to go over some of that with you so you get a better understanding. We also have new solutions we're rolling out, which will come into 2025. And so you'll get some of those ideas from us as well. So basically, enhanced communication and control comes into play when you're integrating into a gated community or a gated home, when you're talking to a customer about perhaps a door station, something that's going to connect to their environment. And their environment could be an app on a mobile device. It could be a door station talking to a panel, talking to an integration like Control 4 or Crestron or something like that. Or it could be something that they don't have that they want to have that kind of solution. So there are a lot of options that we can help enable. A lot of door stations work with our product. We partner with a lot of companies on that level to make it so that there's more connectivity. We do it in the cloud. We do it in a premise-based solution. We can even connect to telephone systems. In a lot of cases, you're going to have a customer who's got a landline system, and he's going to say, well, I want my gates to talk to the landline system. And you're used to doing that now with a telephone-based intercom. But how do you do it when you've got an IP-based intercom that has an app? Well, we help that. We handle that. We work with companies like DoorBird and AIPhone to make that possible. We do it with a lot of different companies where we provide in the cloud a way for the phone system to get called. And it may either require some kind of hardware or it may not. In a lot of cases, we do it without any hardware on site, which means you don't have to worry about how you're going to get that done because you can get it done very easily through the technology. What is AVLink Pro? Basically, it evolved as a elegant SIP solution for AV and connectivity. Okay, we provide with our systems, with our residence-based systems or premise-based systems, an IPPBX solution, which is good for smart home integration, for IP control, for HD video. It can do surveillance, it can do paging and intercom solutions. So as I mentioned before, where people are looking for intercom in their home, this is one of the key elements that can be used to develop that out and build out solutions. So you can sell a lot of different aspects of that, and you can get those products from Control Products. So in the intercom integration solution, okay, you've got application, which allows a wide variety of intercom choices. You've got connectivity, which connects to other devices like telephone systems or smart home systems. Providing a gateway, managing building communications is key. If you're talking to a client that's got a multi-tenant application, they may want to have something that's a little more robust and can manage that. And that's, again, what we're all about. Okay, you want to talk about intercom paging. You get, let's say, a commercial solution, maybe a school or maybe something like that, a house of worship, where they want to have paging and they want to have intercom in the facility. Again, you can get hardware from Control Products, which will do that, and our system will provide the connectivity for all those solutions so that you've got more advanced opportunities that you can do and at a lower cost. Okay. You can stream video and audio to third-party devices to our solution. We can help implement things like NVR going out from a door station so that you can make it possible to use that NVR and use that surveillance system alongside of a door station. We can provide triggering control, triggering relays, triggering gates, doors, elevators, all kinds of situations where you would need that kind of control. Our systems can handle that for you. Okay, and then MDUs, multi-tenant, it's a big area. It's an area where there's a lot of opportunity. MDUs can be residential, they can be commercial, they can be campuses. We have solutions that work in all those environments. We have a lot of experience in those areas, and we can help. That's the most important aspect of this, that we're behind you making this possible. So we'll go to the next slide, and what we're talking about is our SIP servers. So we have 3 different levels of models we offer. These SIP servers are designed to handle single residence or multi-tenant or campus-wide solutions. So depending on the amount of opportunity, the amount of endpoints that are going to be placed, the kind of endpoints and how they're going to communicate, you've got a lot of options. From the smallest unit, which is our CH100, you can do quite a bit. You can handle up to 15 endpoints if it's needed. The LP400, which is the next level up, is a rack-mountable unit, which can go up higher and go up to 1,000 units. And that's, again, talking about endpoints, which could be individuals with one intercom panel in their home or a telephone, or it could be a situation where they're putting phones in, tied into the gate, tied into the doors, tied into other things. It could be elevators. There's a lot of different ways to look at those endpoints, but that's, again, something that we would teach down the road, and the salespeople at Control Products would be able to help you with. Our campus-wide system is great if you're, let's say, doing a whole campus and you want to put in emergency phones throughout the campus, and you want to put in intercoms throughout the campus, and maybe you want to put paging in or alerts if they're tying it into their active shooter situation. Again, something that these things are designed to handle. The campus-wide system is very redundant. It's got the ability to have 2 sets of power, 2 sets of data, and it can actually be paired up with another unit to give high availability so that the capability of giving them full redundancy and security is there. If they need it, it can be done. The basic unit I mentioned was the CH100, which is our basic SIP PBX control system. This is very popular in the world of Crestron implementers because they've been using these for the past 4 or 5 years to implement intercom and connectivity in a Crestron world. It can also be used to control for MDUs. It can be for smaller applications. We don't like to see it go beyond 15 devices because it's not as powerful as the more powerful systems in our solutions, but it can handle a lot. It's got a built-in 2-pole relay, dry contact relay, so that you can trigger something right from the device. It's right on there. It will work off a PoE, so it can be on a PoE environment, and it could be mounted to a DIN rail if it was needed. We even offer a 2U rack mount faceplate that can go over it, so it can mount in a 2U rack. Next model up is our LP400, which is a 1U rack mountable system, more powerful, Intel-based processor, can handle a little bit more. It starts out with 20 endpoint licenses built in. It can be expanded up to 1,000 if needed. People sometimes use these for small MDUs. Sometimes they use them for larger homes. To give you an idea, we've had recent homes where they've had 6 or 7 door stations, depending on the entrances to the home, and this is a large home, where they would have a number of different endpoints to communicate with. Those endpoints could be panels that are touchscreen. They could be telephones that are video telephones or non-video telephones. They could be a variety of different things. So depending on what the environment is and what you want to implement, there are a lot of options. This can also be used for paging. It can connect through analog audio. It connect to AES 67, which is digital audio. So there are a lot of standards that we can hit with this that can allow functionality. We can upgrade this system and add a full service surveillance functionality we call ZoneMinder to it, which allows, we put in a DVR in there if you want it, and we can put in expansion so that it can handle RTSP cameras, on-VIF cameras, and put all that out to a stream, which can then be handled by other functions. So you can do a lot with this. It can handle a lot of features, and it's the purpose of it is that it's a bridge. And the capability of it is that it can make it possible to do a lot more within one system and managed within one system. Again, the last one that we mentioned here is the redundant system, which has RAID built in, so it can handle multiple data sources. And if one goes down, the other one kicks in. And we can also add eye availability, where you can have 2 of them connected and they can be linked together. So if one complete system fails, the other one kicks in. So you get total redundancy in an environment like that. This starts out with 50 endpoints and can be expanded up to 5,000 if needed. And we have done large implementations with it. To give you an idea, we recently did a MDU solution in Australia, 3 buildings with 350 endpoints in each. And we've done a couple of buildings in Australia with similar build outs with this system, with the high availability, redundancy. We can even back up the settings in the cloud to make it completely redundant in case of failure. We haven't had any failures, but we have the redundancy there in case something would come up. Internal to these systems, we have a managed communication solution. We built in elevator control. We can do elevator control to our relays, or we can do it to some third parties like Dormacaba. We can add Brevo if they're interested in, the customer's interested in that. We can add others. If there's an API available, we have the developers that can do that. So depending on the level of the project and depending on what you want to do, there's a lot of capabilities involved, and we have the expansion capabilities as well. A lot of this functionality can be uploaded into the system to a spreadsheet, which makes deployment a lot easier. Again, we provide full support for our systems so that you guys can have the ability to implement something like this, which might be sophisticated, but not out of your reach, because we can help you do it. Okay. Under the connectivity, as I mentioned, networks can sometimes be very difficult to understand, and we simplify that in deployment. We have many ways of doing that. We have good experienced staff. We have good products for that purpose, and we make it possible so that you can deploy a large implementation, even a small one that's complicated, and make it possible. We get a lot of people coming to us where they're working on a property with multiple buildings, for example, and they may want to unify the network on that. We can make it possible through unified connectivity or through VPN to make it possible to connect all the devices on the property to a main gate, perhaps, or to different buildings to talk to each other. A lot of these things can be done, and we do most of it remotely. So physically, you just need to make the connections, hook up the low voltage connections for us, and we do the rest for you. We can create secure VLANs and VPNs, and we can work with third-party ISPs, third-party internet service providers. Everything that we do can either work in a SIP compliant network, or we can work with both SIP and non-SIP to make it happen. We work with things like avoiding DHCP issues and NAT issues, which come to play when you're working with a lot of these diverse products where these things can affect the performance and functionality. In the world of SIP, NAT and what's called ALG are two factors that can often affect the performance of the devices. And we're very good at coaching you on how to deal with those problems and working with them. We provide localized PoE devices in many cases so that you don't have to have AC power for it, depending on what you're doing. In a lot of cases, our relays are PoE capable, and we provide PoE switches, which can distribute PoE effectively so that you can have power over Ethernet and use low voltage to do a lot more. Okay. We can work with fiber. We can make it possible when you're doing a long run for a lot of implementations, let's say a larger building, or you're dealing with a campus or a small property where they want to run fiber, our systems can handle that. So we're looking at basically our network data switches. And these switches are available through Control Products Group, and you'll find them on their system listed in the web. These systems are all PoE powered, so they can all distribute PoE to your devices. They can be whatever devices you want to use that are PoE based. We have a line of relays, as I mentioned. One of our SIP servers is PoE based. So you have the capability of deploying this product and making these products work together. All these switches have fiber input and fiber output, and they have the capability of using them as VPNs. So they can be used in an environment where the customer has an existing internet service provider. They have perhaps even existing router. These devices can be used to actually deploy DHCP and other functionalities separate from what's provided by the ISP. So that way you can build out a private network for that client and not interfere with the current internet provided and current devices provided. This is very useful when you're doing something with, let's say, a smart home, or you're working with a commercial environment where you want to create a public network. Again, we help with doing this. We make it possible. So we can help you consult on getting that type of project done and how it would go about. Okay, in the environment where you're using relays, we have a web relay that's available through Control Products, and we'll go over those. Again, these are products that are IP-based and provide digital connection. Again, you can manage them remotely. You can trigger them remotely. There are a lot of ways we can set up those kind of triggerings. That can be done through IP. It can be done through the phone system. Okay. We fully integrate our systems to AVLinkPro and other APIs, which means that we can also meet standards for third parties. As I mentioned, we did that with Dormakaba, and we made it possible for their relays and their stuff to trigger through our system. Okay. We use optomechanical digital relay control. In this case, this is all low voltage. If you're looking at high voltage relays, we don't do that right now, but on the low voltage products, which is a lot of products, we do. We can expand. These are daisy chainable, up to 128 relays. That means you can control a lot of stuff. You got a building with a lot of elevator banks. There's a lot of control involved, a lot of entrances, a lot of security doors. There's a lot that can be done. If you're looking at, let's say, a college campus, a building where you've got a lot of classrooms, sometimes they want to do active shooter lockdowns. They need a relay for that. We have a couple of options for that. Paging controller, that's one of those options. That paging controller has actually got relays built into it, but it can be controlled through our AVLinkPro, or it can be controlled to the cloud. So we have a lot of options for that. It also has analog audio out, which means that paging controller, which I'll go over in a minute, has the capability of touching an existing intercom solution. So if you go into a school and they've got an existing system that they want to tie in some new equipment to, this is an option. And it gives you the ability to tie in digitally so that you could do things like add a DoorBird station to the school, make it so that you can hit it through the phones. And our service, which we call Attendant, allows you to actually call the digital paging adapter and make pages to the analog system. There are a lot of features here that you can implement at lower cost and less experience. Again, we'll help you with that. And we can also guide you on where to go and what to use where you can save some money. We've got single modules for paging and relay control, as I mentioned. We'll go over that next after this. So these are our relay controllers. These, again, are available on the web through Control Products Group. You can see that this device has a lot of outputs. The single relay port output, the single module has 16 ports, okay? And it can be expanded through daisy chaining them. The simple Cat6 cabling, they can be daisy chained up to 128. They've got optical sensors built in so that there's no physical relay module to fail. They're optical, so they're going to continue to function as long as they're functioning through that LED optical, which is quite a long lifetime. We have two ways of controlling them. We have a standby controller, standalone piece, which you see pictured here in the middle, which is the 105DW, which can control the relays, or you can use an AVLinkPro SIP PBX to do it. They are DIN rail mountable as an option, and they can address IP-based triggers or SIP-based triggers. Again, the SIP-based triggers can be done through AVLinkPro and premise, or through the cloud we can do it. Our paging adapter, which is another unique piece, and is becoming very popular with places like universities where they want to go and page into each classroom, perhaps trigger a relay to lock the door during an active shooter or an emergency. That's what this can do. This can also be tied into, as I said, the analog systems where you want to page to an existing system. Or you can tie it into our SIP PBX and use even our PoE switch to drive it. It's PoE based. We offer a Wi-Fi option for it. We offer a cellular option for it, so that you can do a lot of different things with this kind of solution. We offer the Wi-Fi and the cellular for the relays as well. So if you've got something sophisticated that you want to get involved in implementing and you need these functions, reach out to Control Products Group and they'll get in touch with us and get you the right solution from our product line. We also offer an Xbabble, is it the name of it? It's a mobile app. Okay, this mobile app is something that a lot of people ask for because they want to be able to do something unique. And this is available on the iOS or the Android store. We offer it as a service through Control Products Group, which is going to be set up probably in the beginning of the year. This solution allows you the capability of making a mobile app that you can give a customer that allows them to communicate between each other on their mobile devices or on their iPads or on their Android touchscreens, or they can communicate with the door stations. They can communicate with the DoorBird to our system, with the AIPhone to our system, and other brands. But the key thing here is that you've got an application that you can sell a customer as a mobile app, which can be expanded. That can be for residential, for commercial. For example, if you've got a client who's got a bunch of team in the field, they want to roll trucks and they want to be able to communicate. This is an audio video application. They can use it for two-way audio, two-way video. They can use it for communication and paging. So let's say you've got a customer that's got a bunch of trucks that goes out, and at the same time they've got a garage where they have paging and they want to page somebody who's in the building. They want to page or call people in the field. This is a great product for that because it's completely private. It can be completely cloud hosted. They don't even need a device unless they want to page locally. We can hook it up to our paging adapter. We can hook it up to door stations in the premise, in the facility. And at the same time, they can have this communication outside the facility. Beauty of it is they can also send private messaging between them, which is completely private. It's not WhatsApp. It's not using FaceTime. It's not using a third party. It's completely private to the user. At the same time, they can also send files of any size between them, and they can be any format. So it's a great communication solution, especially nowadays where everybody's working from remote, where they're on the field. It can trigger relays. It can do things through the cloud that normally you wouldn't be able to do because it's tied into our systems, okay? And as I said, it's private. It's got SMS and MMS file sharing. It can do three-way video conferencing. We can expand it up to more users, I think up to 9 or more. You can do call forwarding. So if you use it for the door station, you get a call, somebody answers it, and they said, oh, hold on a second, I'll get you over to the receiving department. You can transfer the call over to them if they've got the app over there on either a touchscreen or on their mobile device. You can also do call recording during calls. You can do contact management. We can even make it so it's possible to mass deploy the contacts within it, depending on how you're deploying it, okay? It's very fast in deployment. It actually uses a QR code to set up. You can actually download Xbabble right now off of the Android or the Apple iPhone store and install it, but it wouldn't work without having the service, but we can provide that through Control Products. The next thing which we're excited about is if you're a DoorBird reseller. DoorBird, right now, to set up a DoorBird, you've got to use individual credentials for each device. And you got to keep them on either your app on your phone or you got to log into their individual devices through their admin cloud. Through cooperation with DoorBird, we've taken their API to the next level and we created our own DoorBird cloud. Now, obviously, this is going to have a service fee, but the benefit is you can manage all your customers, all your DoorBird customers in one place. This is going to allow you to have one login to see all the devices that are DoorBird that you've installed, to maintain them, and to be able to manage them and be able to help the customer. There are a lot of benefits in this. This solution is going to have the ability to do bulk uploads through spreadsheets. So you can upload the users, you can upload the keypads, you can upload the IR transponder codes. You're going to be able to make changes. You're going to be able to give the customer a customer login with your logo on it, with your link back to your website, your phone number, so that customer is interfacing you whenever they have a question or issue and whenever they log into their DoorBird, so that you can maintain relationship with the customer on the DoorBird. At the same time, they can create user logins for individuals to log in if they choose to. Let's say they're a property manager and they want to have the property managed by a receptionist or secretary who doesn't understand all the technology behind it, but wants to be able to update the key codes and wants to be able to update the IR codes. They will have a login with those specific features only, so they can do that and not mess around with the settings and not do anything else. We built in features so that you can clone the device, so that you can actually deploy multiple DoorBirds on a property with all the same settings with one click. That's a beautiful thing, because now you don't have to spend hours in the field or hours, in front of your computer deploying these devices. It'll be simple. We also have backup and restore implemented so that you can back up those settings. So if a device fails in the field and you need to get it replaced, it's going to be a lot easier. You're just basically doing the physical replacement, and then you hit a button and restore all the settings. All you have to do is change the credentials on the device when you put that device in, and then that device will automatically populate once we do it through the cloud. And again, that's all within your reach as a reseller. At the same time, you also have notifications you can trigger. You can set them up for yourself, or you can set them up for the customer, where they'll get notified every time somebody presses a button, every time somebody uses a keypad, every time somebody uses the IR, or if the device goes offline. Obviously, you can select them globally, or you can select them individually, and you can assign them to different users. So that way, everybody can get information. The other information we're going to provide is the ability for you to download things like the settings, things like the key code settings and the IR settings, so that you can basically tell the user, here's a report on who used it, when it was done, and so on. These are things that are not available right now through DoorBird. So we're making them available through this reseller portal solution, giving you the ability to maintain and manage your DoorBirds, and giving you the ability to see if they're online very quickly. So you can actually go into a dashboard and see all of your DoorBird installs, click on them and say, okay, this is online, this is online, this is online. So when the customer calls you and says, hey, that DoorBird's not working, you can go in and find out why. First of all, if the internet's down, that's not your issue, but you can tell them, this is the problem. Your internet's not connecting. You need to check that connection. And if it needs to be rolled on, you'll have the ability to roll your truck, but you may not need to do it. And this is the benefit.
Yeah, I mean, this is to stop you there for a quick second and back it up. Is I mean, this is huge in relation to talking about DoorBird specifically, right? And I've talked to you about it, John. Been very upfront with DoorBird that we don't see them as a multi-tenant solution due to lack of backup, right? At least in the bigger applications. So, I mean, this is huge. This opens them up to more and more projects with us. It gives you guys the ability to sell a product that we all know is great quality, but has limitations. You've kind of removed those, so we appreciate it. I just want to point that out there.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. I mean, the key thing here is to give the reseller an empowerment, and deployment is key. We know that, you want to quote out a customer and have a minimal amount of time spending on installation. The key thing that we find, and we've had a lot of experience dealing with dealers who tell us, yeah, it takes a long time to deploy certain DoorBird models because we got to go in and add each user, and we got to do it with the app or with their cloud, and it's very confusing and it's very difficult. We're giving you the ability to have your own login, to maintain your devices, and to do it with, like I said, with a spreadsheet. You could get everything into an Excel sheet, which we give you one to download, fill it in, upload it, and you're done. And that's beautiful because it's going to save you tons of time. Time is money, and that's why we built this out, because we know that people are crying about their time and we want to help. We also offer another feature, which we mentioned earlier, which is our service that's been out there for about 6 years now, which is iTendant. iTendant is used to have DoorBird intercoms call to telephones. We have other customers that come to us sometimes with other brands. We can accommodate AIPhone, we can accommodate others, but those are the two brands that are most prevalent, especially from Control Products Group. And what this service does is it allows you to do several things which are very important. One of the main things which we're finding is now very important, which we've done, is emergency services. So these days, you're replacing a lot of campus or emergency phones or elevator phones with IP-based phones. So now you could take a DoorBird, for example. The D2100 series is popular for that. Put that in place and have it use the internet to call our service. The service then can call out to a respondent party. Let's say it's a 24/7 monitoring service. There are several we can recommend you to. Or let's say it's a staff member at a facility. For example, a lot of HOAs, and I've heard this from a lot of the Control Products Group staff, that in California, they're implementing policies now which dictate that they've got to have by the pool an emergency intercom that has three buttons: one to call the maintenance staff, one to call the emergency staff, and one to call out to 911. Now, 911 calls cannot come in most jurisdictions from an intercom. They have to call from a telephone. So what we do is we have it with the ability to call a service center, a call monitoring center. If you do alarm systems, you're aware of what those are. Basically, those services will then call 911 and dispatch, and it's just as quick. The benefit of our service is they can also call back to the station if they get disconnected. Also, with the DoorBird, normally the protocol on DoorBird is a 3-minute call. We have the ability with DoorBird to tell them the MAC ID on the device, and then they can expand it to 30 minutes. So that call can be a 30-minute call and further. In addition, the operator can always call back to the station because they get caller ID from our service. They know where that station is, and they can call directly to it. Our service is also very popular with residential. You get a lot of people who are older who don't want to use an app, and they want a telephone call. Obviously, it's not going to use the video unless they open the app, but it's much more responsive. In a lot of cases, it'll go a lot quicker to the end user on their telephone than it will to the app, because of the app going through cloud networks around the world. That can take a little bit of time, not extraordinary time, but it could be a couple of seconds. And the telephone's instantaneous. I can tell you that we've gotten a lot of great praise from customers. I can also tell you that people who have signed up for this service over the last 6 years, 99% are still on it. They don't cancel the service, so it is a reoccurring revenue service that you can make benefit from. And down the road, that first service I showed you with DoorBird, that cloud service, will be able to implement this service so that you'll be able to manage it all in one place, which is beautiful. The customer themselves can have a login through iTendant where they can change their phone numbers at will. That's, again, a benefit that they lose out on when they go with services like the Door King intercoms or been in the world for a long time, because they've got to get somebody out there to do it, and it becomes very expensive, and they don't want to spend the money. Obviously, you want them to spend the money, but unfortunately, this is getting them out of that world. And the fact that telephone lines are being discontinued is also getting them out of that world. So they're going to these IP-based systems. So my recommendation is to look at ways you can control them, whether you have to roll a truck or whether you can do it remotely. Obviously, the remote solution is more cost effective, but we are making it possible with the DoorBird solution anyway to do these things remotely, and it's probably a benefit for you if you do DoorBird.
And stop you there again. You don't have to go back to slide. You can stay here, but that's,
Okay, we can rotate back. Okay.
another roadblock, right? That, for DoorBird and us in the multi-tenant space has been, one, the cloud, which you 2 slides ago answered, and now, just that slide answered that mixed community of, young, old, someone. I mean, it doesn't really matter the age. I have young people that don't want to put apps on their phone, right? So now you have the ability to, one, call the person who wants the app and wants video, but also make that phone call and let them in if they don't want to download the app. So you've
Right,
removed the 2 biggest hurdles in 2 slides. There you go.
right, right. And just to mention, since we're on this page, the Xbabble app could also be used for those who are young and want to use an app. The benefit is, let me point out to you, all the door stations on the market use notifications to tell you somebody's at the door, even the Ring doorbell. They don't ring like a phone. Xbabble is a soft phone. It rings like a phone. It uses your phone's ringer so that you're going to get a call. You're not going to ignore it unless you tell it not to ring. You can obviously go into the settings and tell it not to do that and just use notifications. But it does both. It does push wake up, and it does phone call. You can technically get this service set up to use it as a phone if you wanted to, because we offer that as an option. But the point is, that's one option. Obviously, the iTenant service is also a benefit because it rings like a phone, because it comes in through the phone. It can be used for cell phones. It can be used for landlines. The benefit of that is that the customer themselves can choose where it's going to call, and you can have multiple callers. For single residents, you can have up to 5 different phone numbers. For multi-tenant, we usually do 1 per resident, but we can do up to 5 per resident if it's required. It depends on what the application is and how you want to use it. And the benefit is that they can still use the app that comes with the device, or they could use Xbabble in addition to that. It's up to them. So we're not limiting how they use it. The Xbabble app can be integrated into environments where we have our SIP PBX, which means that if that presence of that SIP PBX is on the premise, they can use it with Crestron, for example. They can use it with Control4. They can use it with other systems that are smart home based. They can use it with their telephones. They can have all of this stuff talk to each other. And that's a beautiful thing. Xbabble is great because, somebody can be at the grocery store and they want to show somebody a grapefruit. They can send a video and they can call up another mobile, or they can call the panels at home and they can communicate between them. They can use Xbabble to receive the call from the door or the gate. They can release the door or gate through Xbabble. They can do a lot of things. And so we have a lot of capability that you can add to what you're doing now, which gives you more opportunities to make revenue. And that's the benefit. The network for Xbabble is a cloud-based network. It communicates through the cloud, or it can talk to a premise-based SIP server. It can talk to premise-based SIP devices that we offer, so that you've got options and a lot of different ways to deploy this stuff. And moving forward, you're going to see a lot more IP-based and SIP-based products in the market. This has been taking place now over the last 5 years, where a lot of manufacturers are changing over. Companies like DoorBird came out, they're strictly IP-based. Companies like AIPhone came out with 2-wire based. They're now going towards IP-based on a lot of their products in their IX and their IXG line. And we can communicate with all of those. There are other companies you can bring into the mix. So if you come into an environment where a customer's got existing stuff, they want to add on stuff, you don't have to rip everything out if they don't want to spend the money. You can use what they got. There are a lot of ways to do it. Get in touch with Control Products and we'll help you do that. So key to all of this is communication. Key to the environments are that we have the expertise and we impart with you the knowledge and make it happen. And we're key about helping you get it done. So you don't have to be experts at doing what you're doing and add this to your knowledge base. We want you to come to Control Products and get us to help you to make it happen. And believe me, we've done a lot of projects around the whole world, and we can make it this happens for you and make it successful and add more business opportunities. And at this time, I'd like to ask everybody to post your questions in the Q&A if you've got any, and we'd be glad to answer them.
I appreciate you, John. Yeah, we didn't have any come through in real time. I was checking them as we were going, but I mean, you're just making it too clear. No, I really appreciate you jumping on and going over this, because I think, some of these technologies and services you offer can be a little bit daunting, for myself, for some of the guys we work with here, but you guys break it down and make it real easy for everyone. So appreciate you jumping on and explaining it.
Not a problem. That's what we're here for. We're always out to help. Any consultation, if you guys have any opportunities, bring the opportunities to your control products team, and they'll reach out to us and put together a call, or they can help us coordinate with you on whatever the solution is so we can make it happen and make things work for you.
Awesome. Yeah, nothing coming through in the Q&A. So, I mean, we'll give it a minute or so, but it looks like we can call it here.
Okay.
Yep. The one popped up there. There we go. Does your system have inputs to see status of gates, open or closed, basically? So, position status.
Yeah, absolutely. John, you want to answer that question for us? One of our engineers on staff, he's available. If you go into Q&A, John, you want to see if you can type in an answer for us?
Yeah, actually, I was trying to find out where that is. I'm looking at the chat and I don't see anything. Where do you see the Q&A?
It's at the bottom where you've got the mute, the stop video, participants.
Yeah, exactly.
I got it.
And you could answer it live here now that we're not midway. You know what I mean? You can just verbally answer it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the system has a web interface that will show you status of any particular relay. If you need to see if it's on or off.
So we can monitor whatever we want to monitor, position, right? Open, closed.
Yep.
And we can, I'm assuming, name that in the on the back end of it. This is front door, back door. Okay.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Any other
keep in mind, it's a system that's very similar to some of the ones that already exist. The difference is the capabilities that it has. It just has more capabilities than most conventional relays functionality. One of the things is it can actually be triggered via a phone number. You can call into a number and trigger it. Things like that are unique.
Nice. Got it.
Anything else?
No, nothing else coming through. I appreciate you guys jumping on, like I said before, and look forward to, building this partnership more and more as we go forward and seeing these jobs get implemented together. I'm super excited about the emergency service ability that we can now jump back into that field. We have products that we already sell and our customers are comfortable with that we can use there. And then really the cloud and everything you guys are doing there with AIPhone and DoorBird, I'll use those two products. So it's the ones we sell, but everything you guys are doing there is amazing. That ability to now integrate those things in is going to be huge and kind of have this like unique situation of hybrid, right? Intercom / telephony, you know what I mean? It was kind of in between there.
Yeah, I mean, it's to cover all the bases. Basically, we find a lot of dealers will go to a site, customer will ask for things that are not maybe in their dance card and they want to do more. So we have another question.
So there. We do. We got a question here. I noticed there's a lot of cost for the QR codes. Are these sold individually? I'm thinking we're talking about
Xbabble.
Yeah.
The Xbabble is a licensed service which is annually licensed. On the residential side, we start at 1 to 3 devices for residents. If it's a business, we do 1 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and so on. And we have pricing that we can have Control Products Group share with you. The QR code is basically set up where each individual device is going to get a virtual phone number, and that's going to allow other users to see that phone number and call it, and then you can assign within the device the actual if you want to put an icon, a picture of the person, or just the name of the person. But the benefit of it is that the QR code allows it to be deployed, but the cost for the QR code is relative to how we're setting it up, so they'll be able to share that with you.
Yeah,
just keep in mind.
what I will
Uh,
say, to be fair, is every service they have is they're economical, right? You can get expensive, but when you compare it to other things, it's on the economical side.
Yeah. Yeah. John, you were going to add something?
Yeah, I just want to, when you say it's not an actual virtual number, it's an actual real DID from the outside world. So people do have the ability to call into it from a regular phone line and call out. And,
Okay.
and just
Nice.
local, though, in the United States.
Okay. Yeah. So, Jonathan, if you want, I'll open you up to ask the question here. I'm going to allow Jonathan, who works with us, one of our Southern California sales reps here.
Can a
On.
SIP
Sure.
be used for a single house phone? Yes, it can. And if you install like a SIP phone in the house or an ATA, and then plug the ATA into an analog phone.
Yeah, so that was my main question is like on the we're replacing a lot of Dorking 1812s that the house already has a phone line and it uses a bypass switch so it could receive the call. Would that SIP be able to handle the like a bypass switch when the call is initiated?
It's the best scenario would be to get rid of the POTS line completely and just plug in. We give you an ETA that would plug into the Dorking, so it mimics a phone line.
Okay, so if their AT&T line that they have on the house phone, because they have a lot of the places have a single port phone.
Yep.
So
And then they're trying to share it.
yes,
Basically, is what you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't need to share it anymore. They can keep it if they want for their own internal house phone, or they can get rid of it and just use the SIP gateways. The SIP ATMs, I'm sorry, ATAs usually come with two ports, so you can use one for the Dorking and one for for their house phone if you wanted to.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Nope. Looks like we're wrapping that one up there.
Okay.
Like I said, I appreciate you guys jumping on, and look forward to seeing what sort of damage we do in 2025 in the best of ways.
All right. Well, guys, listen, I appreciate the opportunity to work with your customers, and we're out here if you need us. And please, use us as a resource. If you've got any opportunities, or if your salespeople want to, engage us with somebody on a project or on a opportunity that needs consulting, we're glad to help. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Take care now.